Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you, first of all, to the American Islamic College and the Secretary General for convening this important forum. And I'm glad to be here in the presence with the Congresswoman and Senator Collins as well. Later today, we'll also be joined with another representative from the United States government, Hannah Rosenthal, who's our special envoy for combating anti-Semitism. Hannah and I last year were together in a very moving trip to the Holocaust sites in Europe with Jewish leaders and Muslim leaders. It was really a tremendous experience, and I look forward to having her with us here a little bit later today. Since the President's first days in office, we have taken a number of steps to improve our engagement with Muslim communities around the world. First of all, we've established a consistent and comprehensive approach to address a broad range of issues through regular engagement by the President, his cabinet, and the administration all around the world, including right here in the United States. Second, we continue to address many of the political and security issues that have been sources of tension between the United States and Muslim communities around the world. We're responsibly ending the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. And on his second day in office, as you know, the President appointed Special Envoy for Middle East Peace. And we are committed to pursuing a two-state solution to this conflict negotiated by the parties. As we see sweeping changes across the Middle East and North Africa, we will continue to support the aspirations of people across the region, as the President outlined in his speech on May 19th. Third, we've established dozens of partnerships in a number of areas around the world, such as in education, entrepreneurship, health, and science and technology. Planting these seeds of partnership will be critical to prosperity in the long term as we work on resolving ongoing political conflicts. President Bush, as you know, appointed the first U.S. Special Envoy to the OIC. And under President Obama, we've continued to strengthen our relationship with the OIC through a number of important initiatives. In the area of health, our cooperation on polio eradication has reduced the occurrence of this disease in polio-endemic countries. We've also launched a pilot program to advance maternal and child health in Mali and in one in Bangladesh as well. In the area of science and technology, our science envoys have traveled to a number of OIC countries, most recently Malaysia. We also co-hosted an event earlier this year with the OIC to promote women in science, by bringing a number of female scientists from the OIC countries to the United States. And in the area of entrepreneurship, later this year, Turkey will host a follow-up conference to last year's Presidential Summit on Entrepreneurship, which brought young entrepreneurs to the United States from all around the world. In addition to our cooperation in these areas of partnership, in the multilateral realm, we've worked with the OIC to replace the contentious defamation of religion's resolution, which we have opposed for the last decade at the UN. We find unacceptable the old resolution's restrictions on speech and the defamation concept, and the OIC's new resolution removes these harmful elements entirely. Rather than trying to restrict speech or expression, which in the past has not worked and has actually raised the profile of hate speech, the OIC's new approach is designed to increase awareness and improve religious tolerance. Over the last year, the OIC has taken an active role on a number of political issues as well, such as in Afghanistan, where the OIC sent a special envoy to coordinate aid from OIC countries. The OIC also hosted in Jeddah the International Contact Group meeting on Afghanistan and Pakistan. As I mentioned, since last year, we've also seen sweeping changes across the Middle East and North Africa. The OIC was among the first to call for a no-fly zone in Libya, where the international community has worked together to support the aspirations of the Libyan people. And most recently, the OIC held an important summit in Istanbul to raise nearly $400 million in aid for the devastating famine in the Horn of Africa. While we will not always agree with the OIC on every issue, and in fact, there will be some issues which we'll certainly disagree on, we have, over the last year and a half, found areas of cooperation based on mutual interests and mutual respect. And we hope to continue to build upon this relationship as we move ahead in the coming years. I want to say again that it's my pleasure to be here at the college, and again to see the Secretary General of the OIC, as well as Congresswoman Schakowsky, and the Senator as well from the State Senator from Illinois. And I wanted to close because the topic of the conference is on Islam and Muslims in America with a statement from the President. This was a statement last year that he gave when he was asked a question at a press conference very near to the time of the 9th anniversary of the September 11th attacks. And the President said, "We are not at war against Islam. We're at war against terrorist organizations that have distorted Islam or falsely accused the banner of Islam to encourage their destructive acts. And we've got to be clear about that. The folks who are most interested in a war between the United States and the West and Islam are Al-Qaeda. That's what they've been banking on. And fortunately, the overwhelming majority of Muslims around the world are peace-loving and interested in the same things that you and I are interested in. How can I make sure I get a good job? How can I make sure that my kids get a decent education? How can I make sure that I'm safe? How can I improve my lot in life?" And so they have rejected this violent ideology for the most part, overwhelmingly. And so from a national security interest, we want to be clear about who the enemy is here. It's a handful, a tiny minority of people who are engaged in horrific acts and have killed Muslims more than anybody else. And the other reason it's important for us to remember that is because we've got millions of Muslim Americans, our fellow citizens in this country. They're going to school with our kids. They're our neighbors. They're our friends. They're our coworkers. And when we start acting as if their religion is somehow offensive, what are we saying to them? I've got Muslims who are fighting in Afghanistan in the uniform of the United States Armed Services. They're out there putting their lives on the line for us. And we've got to make sure that we are crystal clear for our sakes and their sakes. They are Americans, and we honor their service. And part of honoring their service is making sure that they understand that we don't differentiate between them and us. It's just us. And that's the spirit that we have tried to establish as an administration, working on these issues in mutual partnership on areas of mutual interest with Muslim communities around the world. And it's in that spirit that I'm so pleased to be here in the great city of Chicago for this conference. I'll say finally, as we were flying in this morning on the plane, we had the opportunity to fly by Soldier Field and also see the great skyline, which in my opinion is the best one in the country. And I'm really happy to be here in Chicago and to see all of you again, to reconnect with many friends I haven't seen for months and in some cases years. And I wish you all the best for a wonderful conference. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.